Okay, back to playing with the truck. I just cut out the step to make room for the Vic frame rail. It was in rough shape. Anyways, so now on to, I also welded in a support bar here that I'm going to use, and then do another one on the Vic, and then create mounts there and mount that with bolts. Now we got to cut out a channel of the cab mount here, and then repeat on the other side. I was going to do the firewall before I set it on the Vic frame, basically using these parts from the Vic for the brake booster and the wiring harness connections, but the area that it's going to be in is going to be plenty of room to work with. Plus I don't have to measure constantly to figure out where the brake booster will go. If it'll clear the ECU ports and the driver's side head of the engine, I can just do it all by sight. I think the body is about ready to accept the frame. We got the cab mounts notched, this area, the side step, and then for the Vic frame, I removed the fuel vapor return line and the little sensor that goes to that. And I'll be taking the fuel vapor canister off, but got the fuel filler neck off. I think that's pretty much all I want to do here. So we'll be putting the body on today. All right, I'm just going to be lifting the body with these two cranes. A shop crane in here with a piece of wood across and some wood up there to support it. I'll keep an eye on the cab. If it starts doing anything, I'll come up with something different. Then one back here. So here we go. I gotta tell you, it's a little nerve-wracking, but it seems to be holding just fine. Pretty level. All right, let's roll it under. Look at that. We're getting there. Just got to trim. There's a little lip that I left on the inside of those wheel wells. It's making contact with the tank cover there, so I'm gonna trim those. Then that'll get me low enough to know where to trim these rear frame rails from the Vic, because the Vic is longer than the truck. There it is on the other side. It is close though. You might have seen my wife in the time lapse there. She's actually pretty impressed how well the truck body lines up with the frame. It's pretty impressive. She is on, and man, does she look good. I love it. A little tight back here on the wheel against the fender. Although I've still got some trimming to do back there to be able to get a little more adjustment. There's more room on that side, so the body's just cocked over this way a little bit too much. So a little trimming, we'll get that out. But man, it looks good. You know, and I think I'm going to take the Nathan's Garage approach. Just sit down and look at it for an hour or so, and then get back to work. One thing I wanted to point out, and you probably already know it's common sense, but if you're going to be cutting back here, especially if you removed the fuel filler neck and the fuel vapor send and return hoses or whatever, the things that plug into that, do not use a cutting wheel with all those sparks And the sparks fall into there, and I mean, you can kind of smell a few fuel vapors from it's just got a rag stuffed in there. So make sure you use a solid ball. All right, did some trimming in the bed there in the tank and got it to sit level. And I think this is the stance I'm going to go for. I lifted the front just a little bit for clearance for steering from lock to lock. I'm sure it'll rub a little bit, but I'm not too worried about it. And man, it sure looks good. It's a little close from the tire to the fender there. There's probably a good ½ inch, 3/4 of an inch in there. Being that this is a Watts link rear end on these this particular P71, it shouldn't ever go anywhere, but I think I'll just end up rolling it anyways for a peace of mind. Just roll this lip up, give me a little extra clearance. What do you think? Does it have your approval?
Your thumb up. There.
Thumbs up.
Oh.
Yeah, looking at this thing just doesn't get old. I think that's my final stance, for sure. Just looks good from every angle. I can't get enough of it. Just fantastic. And if you watch Nathan's Garage, which if you're watching this, I'm sure you do, I bought one of these completely on his recommendation, the OBD scanner. The thing is awesome. It works really, really well. I used it to clear a dummy light on my Honda Element. Even it told me what it was and everything. And it's going to come in really handy once I start trying to get this thing up and running, because I'm going to be using the original dash, and I'm going to try to use that original gauge. If it doesn't work, they make a reproduction Bronco one that looks almost exactly like it that I'll use. So I won't have any idiot lights to give me an idea of what might be going on, so be using the heck out of that. Thank you, Nathan. It's a good deal. And if you're curious where the frame is going, the bass player in the band that I play in is building a Falcon gasser wagon. So he's going to use this whole front geometry thing for that. And the Ford 9-inch out of it. So that'll be an exciting project. I'll definitely have to drop in on him and upload some of his work on that, because that'll be sweet. Always like those Falcons. And it's a first generation Falcon wagon that he's going to do the gasser thing too. Excited for that. Alright, well that's going to do it for this video. The body video, it finally happened. Next video we'll be doing brackets, bolting this thing down. We're going to tackle the fuel filler and maybe some of the steering. We'll see. We got a ton of little stuff to do now. All the little stuff comes next. Thank you all for watching and subscribing and liking. This is awesome. It's fun to share it with you guys. So until next time, see you later.